So, you know, December of 96, I let my brother-in-law know I was getting out of the scrap business and going to become an appraiser.
And it was just, it was just that. It was just another job for you, and you liked kind of what it offered, the freedom, the flexibility, driving around.
Well, I mean, it was a chance for a career. You know, I grew up in the blue collar. My dad was electrical engineer. You know, mom was a stay-at-home mom. He had a career. You know, the scrapyard in my dad's eyes was not a career. So, you know, they were always pushing me to go back to college, find a career or something like that. But, you know, this literally fell into my lap just from tutoring a kid that I wanted selfishly to be eligible. So, because he had a cannon as a catcher.
Yeah. So when that happened, right, and you made that pivot and to go get your license to be the appraiser, did it, in your parents' eyes, was that satisfying? Like, hey, okay, now Tom is going into the career field, or was there still some doubt there?
No, I don't think there was a doubt once I showed him the check from the third week of doing it. I think I made like $1,400 the third week doing appraisals.
And I was just going to say, just because, you know, what was the market like back then? What was the real estate market? Obviously, we'll get to the point of, you know, you becoming licensed and selling as well. But what was the real estate market like when you started in appraisals?
There was a refinance boom because the rates were dropping to 7.75.
Wow.
People were tickled to get out of the 9s and the 10s. It flew right through the 8s. So it was, you know, 1997 was really the right in the peak of that refi boom that carried us for a good 6-8 years. And the start of us, like I like to call it, the old wild, wild west.
Yeah. I mean, no kidding. I mean, you know, anytime it drops 1% or 2%, you know, those refis take off. So you got in right at the right time for that part of it.
Oh, it was great. And, you know, most of the people would do 5 to 7, 8 reports a week. And I was young and, you know, I was used to making $400 a week after taxes, working 6 days a week. So to me, it was, you know, you're getting a 125, 150 a report. I would take them all. I mean, I would say by the third month doing it, I was averaging 15 to 20 appraisals a week. I didn't care. 7 days a week, all hours. You know, I was planning on getting married in August.
Yeah, you better get this correct. You better get that date correct.
We bought our house in June. We got married in August.
There you go. There you go. So, and you did all over Ohio, right? And was it like you still had to travel out, or was it kind of just more
when I was training, yeah, desktops weren't, you know, when I started training as an appraiser, I only covered about 1 or 2 counties really away from Franklin. It seemed like I ended up with Marion, Morrow, Richland County, Knox counties where I cut my teeth a lot, or then Chillicothe and Franklin. And, you know, it seemed like I was up and down the 23 corridor a lot.
Yeah. So what was that process that you had to go through for those? I'm just curious because not too, you know, and this is the one thing, guys, if you're in, I'll do a shameless plug. If you're in Ohio and you're a real estate agent and you're listening to this, reach out to Tom. Tom is a wealth of information and knowledge when it comes to appraisals and questions. And, you know, don't go too crazy and abuse the knowledge. But I know, Tom, just for me and others that, you know, we've been around, you've been a wealth of information, always willing to give back to us on those things. And now I'm just really curious of how that process worked in the late 90s, mid to late 90s of, you know, Ryan, who's my team lead, when he got licensed in real estate, he talks about how you had to go to a book and actually pick up keys to every single house and every single showing. And I can't even fathom what it was like to even do showings without a Google Maps, right? So what was that appraisal process like for you, you know, when you first got started?
You made friends with the realtors in the county seat because you needed to stop and look at their books. I had in Marion and Lancaster and Chillicothe, every county seat, I had at least one real estate office I knew would welcome me in and let me use their comp books. Some of them would let me Xerox pages for free. Other ones would want 10 cents a copy. You had to go to the county auditor's office and pull the property cards. Then after you made your inspection, then you had to drive around and take your pictures of all your comps. Then on the way home, you would drop them off at Cord Camera for your 1 hour photo developing. So, every day I was getting 2 to 3 rolls of film developed. So you had to make sure you took all the right pictures. You didn't want to forget them because you would have to drive back and get them. But I don't want to take too many because I only had 3 rolls of film with me for the day. And then I'd have to stop and buy another roll if I used too many of the things. So just little things that you just don't realize today. The Columbus MLS, you could dial in to their server on the modem, the old AOL. You hear that. I had the keystrokes memorized. I would be 5 and 6 pages ahead before it would even catch up to you on a comp search, hitting tab, this, and this. And so, yeah, having all the data at our fingertips now that we have has just made appraising a lot easier.
That's wild. You put a lot of miles in, huh?
I think according to the IRS, it was always about 40,000 plus a year, and it probably really was.
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy. Sometimes you think about I got in 2011, and then you think, it wasn't 2003 is when Ryan got licensed, and he said they were still doing kind of the book thing back then for MLS pages and things like that. Yeah. It's just crazy.
Oh, facts and offers. Just all the.
Yeah. That's wild. So you get started in appraisals. You're doing that. You're young. You're doing as much as you can. You're enjoying the money, right? And did you do anything else on the side, or was that just kind of now that was your career?
No, that was all I was doing was appraisals. I was taking class about every. You had 120 hours or whatever it was. By 98, 99, I was almost done with the classes, taking them, at Hondros.
Yeah.
And, but, to me, I was like, oh, every time I had to take a class, it was cutting into money because you had to do it in class. So I was slow to get my classes because, I'm like, I didn't want to take a pay cut for a week. So by 2000, the end of 99, I just finished up and got my application, all submitted to get my license. And I got that in 2000.
Your real estate license?
No, my appraisal license.
Your appraisal license.
Yeah. Before that, I was just operating under someone and they signed off. There was you didn't have to have an appraiser assistant license. Just as long as you were working under a licensed appraiser, they could sign up on all your work. He had 15, 20 guys that worked for him. Okay.
So then, you didn't have any quote unquote certification at the time. That guy just had to approve of everything that you were doing.
Correct. Yep.
That's all. Okay. All right, cool. So you get your appraisal license, you said 99, 2000, right?
Yep. May 2nd of 2000 is when my license was issued. And about that time, the company I was working for, that appraiser was getting in a little trouble. Maybe spent a little time in the big house. So I started my own company, and one of the girls that had worked there came and worked with me. So it was just me and Lori.
Okay.
She had no license. No one had their license or whatever. And we were busier than all get out because I just had a lot of relationships with loan officers. And at that time, loan officers were able to still send pre-comps over where, they're shopping around with appraisers for a value for the refi to make sure there'd be enough to get there. So I was really good at comping properties quickly. So, you would do 15, 20 pre-comps a day for loan officers so that, you know, they're shopping around who's going to get them the highest value on that refi.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was always hand delivering the appraisals instead of just sending them by courier or overnight. You know, I would be like, I got 6 appraisals to deliver. I'll just go make my rounds and deliver them.
It's kind of like the car wash. It's kind of like the gas station, right?
Oh,
You know?
yeah. So, I mean, then before you know it, I'm hiring friends to come join me. And then we, you know, they kept asking, hey, will you go here? Will you go here? And I'm like, that's a little far. And then by the time it was all said and done, we were covering all 88 counties, and we had different price per county.
Right.
And ended up with, you know, my wife's family members that lived in certain parts of the state started working for me. And I think the highest we had was 19 field appraisers, and I was the only one licensed when we were covering the whole state.
And you then became the person that was just signing off on what they were doing.
I was basically an AMC before AMCs. Everyone,
Okay.
you know, they knew that if they had a deal in Ohio, they could send it to me. We'd get it done.
Yeah.
I was a member of 19 boards of realtors. You know, and that was when they were all coming online then by then. So you could, you know, have access to the data online.
Sure.